this is was one extremely tough decision to make, and I was spurred to think about this some time ago, and I've got a few months underneath my belt on this particular lens. Let's just face it, okay? I own a crap load of lenses. I've tested God knows how many lenses. It's ridiculous. I still own most of them. That's not something somebody should admit to. Typically, an ultra zoom lens is radical, like a 28 to 300 millimeter Nikkor. Ultra zoom, there is no specific definition of an ultra zoom versus a super zoom. Basically, every super zoom kind of sucks ultimately at certain spectrum range of either end of its zoom. And, even though it says it goes to 300 millimeters, the 28 millimeter to 300 millimeter Nikkor does not go to 300 millimeters, not technically. It does not give you the same field of view as a 300 millimeter if you whip out a 300 millimeter and compare the two side by side. So, super zooms, no. If issues, it's kind of like people buy those if they think, well, I just got one camera and one lens to take with me. And really, they would take a lot better pictures and they'd think more about the shots if they took a couple small primes instead of one large honking super zoom. The pictures would look a lot better. They'd be composed better. There's really no denying that. I'm not a huge fan of ultra zooms and super zooms, and there's been one exception, and it kind of grew on me like a parasite, except extremely quickly. And the absolute best super zoom I've ever used in my life, whether it be Nikon or anybody else, including older AIS lenses. Of course, there were no ultra zooms or true super zooms. There were zooms back then, but I've never used anything quite like the 18-135 Fuji. The fact that this could be engineered such that it is neither stinky nor rancid at either end, which every super zoom and absolutely every ultra zoom is, and the fact that across almost all of its range, you'd be hard pressed to confuse it. To identify it as a super zoom lens versus a prime lens. This, while not on the level or range of what the Fuji 16mm prime is, which is so ungodly astonishing, it really shouldn't even exist. That lens is Fuji's best lens. It's undeniably incredible. Been incredibly impressed, more and more so, with the 18-135, and I can say without any hesitation whatsoever that the 18-135 Fuji that I have in my hand is absolutely the finest super zoom lens made by anybody. Talking about vignetting, chromatic aberration, color saturation, phase, resolution, bandwidth. Just unbelievable. Like I said, this does not fall on the level of a jaw-dropping incredible like the 16mm Fuji, of which I've only ever seen 3 lenses that jaw-dropping, so it's certainly not that close, but it is incredible. So if you have any reservations about this lens, and as well you should, because I've got tons and tons and tons of prime lenses, far more prime lenses than I have zooms, but I love the hell out of a good zoom all day long. I just got done reviewing the 50mm to f140. 50mm to 150. I've had too much coffee today. And awesome zoom lens, the equivalent of the 70 to 200 to 2.8, except for a Fuji crop sensor. So anyway, that's it. This is definitely by far, whether it's Nikon or Fuji, the best super zoom lens. There's it's wonderful. It's astonishingly good, and every time I take a shot with it or I use it and I just grab one lens and head out the door to do something simple, it does not disappoint. It just doesn't. And Nikon has never made anything that close with that spectrum of true actuality, not potential, but actuality out of any super zoom that they've ever made. And Nikon's been around a long time. Fuji's been around a long time too, making lenses. Fuji's been around for decades and decades and decades. unlike another camera company that has somebody else make their lenses and has only been doing it for a few years. We all know who that is. Yeah, Fuji's been making lenses for many decades, but that they could actually make a lens like this with a range of 18-135 is absolutely unbelievable. I think that Fuji, well, I like to never to say think, but I'm speculating here, but the results are proof of it, that Fuji has either hired some of the best lens designers on earth, or they are engaging in a type of group discussion before a lens goes to production that is of an incredible, there's a way you can actually structure how something is made. You can have a bunch of schmucks up at the top telling the peons what to do, and this is kind of how IBM destroyed itself, and it's kind of how Apple is destroying itself. Or you can have this sort of cross-collaborative thing where it's kind of like you make a samurai sword, where the more you beat it, the better the steel gets. And so there must be some sort of corporate infrastructure at Fuji, as far as lens design goes, that they are churning out far better glass. And not just quality-wise, which of course is incredibly important, but optical result-wise than Canon or Fuji, which I'm sure, I've got no question about that, that Canon and Canon and Nikon, are run probably exactly like IBM runs its company. It's like, you do what I say, and even if you know more than I do or have an improvement, I don't give a damn because I'm your boss. And that's going to be part of their downfall, is that sort of corporate mentality. And it's very apparent to me that Fuji does not have that going on, and that's the only thing that I can think of, that and hiring some of the best lens designers on earth. It's like they've hired a team of the lens photographic equivalent of samurai sword masters, which are incredibly few and incredibly rare. So that's the only thing that I can think of that is an explanation for this, is hiring the best of the best of the best and having a type of corporate infrastructure that allows for the best to actually be produced. And that's why Fuji is kicking ass, and they're going to kick ass even harder. So anyway, that's my synopsis for the absolute best super zoom ever made by anybody ever. And I did not arrive at this conclusion either quickly or easily. Okay? Thanks. Bye.